Hi everyone, welcome back to the Sri Lanka Morning Show. My name is Sonali Rodrigo and I'm the Senior Financial Advisor at Tomorrow Financial Solutions. Today, I'm coming to you from my own home because of COVID-19 social restrictions. So excuse my dog here. We are all living through very uncertain times at the moment. People have lost their jobs, some people have had their work hours cut down. So there's a lot of people who are financially stressed and facing a financially uncertain future at the moment. So today I wanted to have a chat to you guys about what are some of the things that you could do in these very stressful and uncertain times to help alleviate some of that financial stress. So let's get started. First and foremost, what you must do is a budget. If you haven't done this before, you can go to moneysmart.gov.au where you can find a very simple and easy to use budget template that you can use to get started with this exercise. What you need to do is put in all of the income streams you have coming in at the moment and all of the expenses you have at the moment as well, so that then you can get a clear idea of what you need to do and what areas you need to look at to trim down your budget and tighten your belt. So get started on this first step, and once you do that, go through each and every line item one by one and see what you can do to eliminate or cut down those expenses. So for example, if you're renting, speak to your landlord and see if they are willing to offer a rent reduction or a rental waiver or whatever rent relief that they can offer you, so that then you can possibly defer payment of your rent. If you have a mortgage, speak to your bank and see whether you can possibly do a payment freeze. But remember, when you do freeze your mortgage repayments, what happens is the interest gets capitalized into your loan. So that means the interest gets added on to the loan, and at the end of the freeze period, you're going to have to start paying this back to the bank. So it's not the bank forgetting about the repayments altogether. It just means that they give you the option to pause it while you get back on track financially. So speak to your bank if that's something that they could do for you. Different banks have different criteria for this. So some of them let you do this if your work hours have been cut down, but some of them let you do it only if you've lost your job. So it's very specific to the bank you're with. So talk to them and see. If you haven't lost your job, what you should consider doing right now is to speak to a mortgage broker to see if you can get a better rate on your mortgage. So if you are able to reduce your monthly repayments and still able to continue paying the same amount into your mortgage as you are doing now, what you would invariably do is build up a bit of a buffer. So in case you lose your job in the future, you have some sort of emergency buffer in there to see you through the next couple of months. So speak to a mortgage broker and see what rates are out there. As we all know, the interest rates have come down significantly on the mortgage loans. So therefore, you should be able to get a much better rate than what you are on at the moment. Also, some of the banks are offering cashback offers at the moment. Some banks offer up to $4,000. So if you are able to get a lump sum like this into your emergency buffer, that will further help you along in these difficult times. So think about doing that as soon as possible. The reason I say as soon as possible is a lot of the banks are looking very carefully at who they lend to at the moment. They want to see what sort of industry you're working in, what sort of job prospects you have in terms of is it going to get affected by the COVID-19 economic downturn. So be very quick and move very quickly, because otherwise you might get caught out with bank policy changes. So get onto that straight away. Now, once you do all of these things, another thing to think about is, like I said, going through the category items in your budget. Think about things like your grocery bill. What can you do to shave some of that money off? Think about buying in bulk, buying from marketplaces rather than supermarkets. Whatever you need to do to trim the fat off the grocery bill, think about doing it. About your telephone bill. speak to your telecommunications provider and see if they're happy to reduce the plan that you're on. Streaming services, which you might not need right now, think about cancelling those. Gym memberships that you're not using, cancel all of those. Make sure that they're not charging you for things like that. It might be things like children's classes, swimming classes, what have you. Whatever you need to do to trim the fat off your budget, this is the time to do it. Remember, these are not temporary. These are not permanent. These are temporary measures that you're taking to make sure that you can keep your head above water, food on the table, and a roof over your head. Now, another thing to think about is to make use of the utility relief grant. I have spoken about this before. This is different in each state, but in Victoria, you have the option of accessing up to about $2,000, $650 each for gas, $650 for electricity, and $650 for water. This will help people who are going through temporary financial crisis. This is designed to help people like that. And the government will pay directly to your utility service provider. So you can apply through your utility services provider. So get in touch with them, let them know your situation. But remember, you have to be smart about it. The amount that they pay will depend on the balance at the time you apply. So make sure that you apply at a time when you've accumulated enough in your bill to access as much of the $650 as possible per utility. Now, as you all know, or you may have heard, the government has also introduced options for people to access money from their superannuation, but this should be the last resort. Your superannuation money is meant to be for your retirement, and accessing money has long-term ramifications if you access money early. So think twice about it, but you do have the option of accessing $10,000 this financial year and potentially another $10,000 next financial year. So if you're in dire financial straits, then you could think about going down that route as well. Another thing to make sure that you have done at this time is to make sure you've registered for all available government support. Now, depending on your situation, it might be that you're eligible for JobKeeper payments. So speak to your employer about this. Or if you've lost your job, you might be eligible for job seeker payments. So make sure you go to MyGov and register your intention to claim or put your claim through to make sure that you have access to money as soon as possible. Also, don't forget to update your family income estimates because that has an impact if you're a family on family tax benefits and things like that, and those things get adjusted fairly quickly. So you might have a few more dollars per fortnight coming through if you anticipate a reduction in your family income for this financial year. So make sure you keep those things updated with the government as well. Now, I do hope this has given you some things to think about and some options at this very difficult time. And I do hope you get through this. I'm sure we all will. So stay home, be safe, and I will see you all next week.